Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at some of the railroad history in Rochester, Michigan, along the former Michigan Central and Grand Trunk Western Railroads. So let's get started. Here you can see Rochester on the map. It was the junction point between the Grand Trunk Western's Romeo subdivision, as well as the Michigan Central Railroad Detroit to Bay City branch. Both lines crossed at a point called Rochester Junction just east of town. And both have been turned into trails and are no longer in service. Today we're going to be walking east from the town of Rochester to Rochester Junction and just seeing what we can find that remains from the railroads along the way. We'll be starting in the parking lot by where the former depot was. Here is the site of the depot. The only trace of the main line is the cutout in the pavement. Past it, we see the empty lot where the depot once stood. There was also a passing track around the other side of the depot. And we head under the bridge and east on the Clinton River Trail. And here is the river. And now we're up on the grade of the former GTW, and we are heading east. We approach Mill Street and the site of a former mill that was served by the GTW. The mill was torn down in the early 2000s after the railroad had already been abandoned. And this is all that's left today. The track serving the mill ran roughly parallel with this concrete pad. Here is a picture from the mid-1980s which shows a GTW switcher switching the mill. And here's the same scene today. Next we head east to the GTW crossing over the Paint Creek. The bridge is still in place today and has been built over for the walking trail. And we continue east on the former Romeo sub. And on the left we start to see the grade of the Michigan Central paralleling the GTW. The Michigan Central had a long downhill grade coming south towards Rochester Junction. Looking down from the Michigan Central, and off to the side we see some rails left in place. It's been roughly 50 years since the abandonment of the Michigan Central, and it appears that there is an entire section of track still left in place off in the woods, just west of Rochester Junction. You would probably never know this is here. I guess not all of it was removed when they tore up the rest of the line. And here is the only tie plate to be found left. And now we head back onto the GTW to head east towards Rochester Junction. And here's Rochester Junction. Off to the left we can see the GTW and the Michigan Central off to the right. We'll be following the Michigan Central now. And here's the site of the former interlocking tower that protected the crossing. Now we come across the Clinton River again, this time on the Michigan Central, where another bridge is still in place. And we continue southeast, or south. And looks like there's a signal that has been left behind, laying off to the side. It sure looks like this is a signal. That's pretty cool. And we continue south and find a tie laying off in the ditch to the side. We come across a section where the river dips around and under the right-of-way, and so we'll go around another way. Going around, we can see the culverts under the embankment, and back down to the right-of-way. A little further and we find a metal box off to the side, possibly a relay box or something of the sort. And here's the Clinton River. And we come to Yates. This is the end of the line for us. The Michigan Central once continued past the mill. And we go off a little further south to see the out-of-service portion of the Conrail Shared Assets trackage, which is north of M59. This section is no longer in service, but it gives us a bit of a look back as to what the Michigan Central was like. And that is as far as we'll go for now. For some background information, the Michigan Central fully abandoned its Detroit to Bay City branch in 1976, and the Grand Trunk Western abandoned its Romeo subdivision in 1999. Both are currently in the trail system and are the Clinton River Trail and the Paint Creek Trail. But it's cool to see that some railroad remnants have been left behind after all these years. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching and please subscribe. See you next time.